Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Paolo Concetti. I'm the Senior Product Manager for Cybersecurity, responsible for this product. I'm very excited today to bring you this new PowerG wired to wireless converter. We believe this is a great product that can enlarge the possibility of the business. We have today our team. I'm happy to work with my colleague, and we have at the webinar Rob Assman. This is Director of Sales for Canada. Neil Jones is Director of Product Training and Technology, and Anna Charter, Product Marketing Manager for Intuition in North America. So I bring now to Anna to keep going with the webinar.
Thank you, Paolo. So yes, I'm very excited to be here with you guys launching a wired to wireless upgrade and expansion module. So let's talk about this opportunity that is upon us. Why would you be interested in just another wired to wireless converter? Well, because this is not just another converter. It is so much better. It is so much more. We call it an upgrade and expansion module. So first and foremost, this PowerG device gives you a tool to take over any legacy hardwired system and turn that system into a modern one, being able to support smart home monitoring, which of course is a great potential source of RMR for your customers. So that is good. But what is better, it's the ability to leverage the superior power of the PowerG technology, which is at the heart of the system. So utilizing the industry-leading range, which doesn't limit your project to and the size of the property that you can work on, and it doesn't limit you to the number of buildings on the property, allows you building-to-building connectivity without compromising any signal encryption quality either. But what makes this solution so much better than any other, it's the ability to expand the device portfolio that you can use for your project. Because now you can turn any hardwired device into a PowerG ecosystem. You can take your favorite hardwired photo beam, strobe, siren, and incorporate it into a PowerG ecosystem. We'll talk about this in much more detail a little bit later on. But next, let's have a little refresher on the PowerG technology. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the benefits of the PowerG wireless technology. It has of course the industry-leading range, which is up to 4 times that of the traditional wireless systems. It enhances your communication reliability. It's resistant to jamming thanks to the two-way communication and the military-grade 128-bit AES encryption. So the range is instrumental in supporting projects on large properties and buildings, and properties with multiple buildings. And of course, encryption is very important, as you don't want any weak links as part of your security system that you're offering to your customers. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Neil, who will review the device specs.
Thanks, Anna. So firstly, I'm going to ask everybody to go easy. I am the new guy. I've been part of more beta tests and product launches than I can honestly remember. It's not often that I get excited about a new product launch, but this one is definitely one of those occasions. I truly believe the product we are announcing today is best in class and will quickly become the go-to module for you, our valued partners. This innovation could not have been possible without the enhanced collaboration of the product and engineering teams at Tyco and our friends at Qualys. I will now give a quick overview of the tech specs, and I will try not to take too much of our time today, as you all came to hear what Rob has to say next. We also want to make sure we have some time for questions at the end for you. So this module does have 8 wired inputs that will give you the ability to connect 8 hardwired devices in a normally open, normally closed, single end of line, or for enhanced security, a double end of line configuration with a 250 millisecond loop response. So very, very robust application we've been able to put together. Comes with 4 programmable PGM outputs, which Rob will definitely talk into later, giving us support for up to 18 conventional 2-wire smokes, 4-wire smokes, 4-wire COs. Siren output so the siren output is supervised, 12 volts at 700 milliamps. We are going to be able to offer PGM support for on and off functionality, and basically any hardwired device is going to be able to be connected to this system. From a security standpoint, we have enhanced tamper protection with both front and back tamper switches, an AC to DC power adapter with an output of 16.5 volts DC. We have 2 auxiliary independent power loops, so 500 milliamps total, so 2 independent power loops, just to make sure that we don't have any problems down the road. And that's also obviously a UL requirement if we have our environmentals on one, our PowerG devices on the other one. 24-hour backup battery, which is obviously sold separately, but it will be located inside the device enclosure. And then we have, further enhanced the security with integrated power supply supervision. As you know, our PowerG wireless technology offers superior encryption, 2-way TDMA, and long-range communication, easy to install and enroll. Our leading-edge wireless technology ensures complete compliance with cybersecurity requirements. So at initial launch, it will be compatible with the Qualys IQ Panel 2 Plus with firmware 2.53 or newer. So again, at launch, we will have support for up to 2 of these modules when being connected to a Qualys IQ Panel 2 Plus. So it's giving us 16 zones, and it's ULC approved. Other than that, we get to listen to Rob and some of the fantastic use cases he's been able to come up with. So Rob, over to you.
Thank you very much, Neil. So for those who don't know, I'm again, like Rob Harman, Canadian sales manager with DSC, based out of Toronto. Been here for quite a few years, seen a lot of product launches, and this has got to be up among the top of the list for different products we've released, and the excitement and talking to the different dealers about applications that they wish we had something to help them out with. We've got a pretty neat solution. We're pretty excited to talk about it today. So when I was tapped on the shoulder to be the sales lead on this call, I thought it would be a good idea to reach out to some of our partners and integrators and discuss, hey, this is what the module can do. How can you see it helping you out in the field? And then they were able to give us some really neat use cases that we may not have been thinking about. We also had a call with our friends at Qualys and found out what they thought this module meant to them and what they were most excited about. And a couple hours ago, I was speaking to the folks at Cantech and said, hey, listen, this is what it can do. Can you see any access control applications? So I've been selling PowerG for a number of years now, and it's been pretty fun to see people text me pictures or Google Map overviews of different applications they're able to tackle because of the range. And I think this is going to be exactly like that. We're going to see different scenarios and how this has helped people in the field for years to come. I think it's going to do a lot of great things. So we've got Neil in the background and some of our team monitoring the questions. So Neil knows the presentation. If something comes up that I'm not going to cover, he might just jump in and say, hey, Rob, I think it's a good opportunity to cover a question here. If not, we'll hold them for the end and we'll try and get through them all. But I'd like everybody to as we're going through some of these scenarios, and that's what we're doing here today. We're given ideas to get the creative ideas going on how this can help you out in the field and what it's going to mean. But if you see a scenario either you want further clarification on, or if you have another scenario we're not even thinking about, we'd love to hear from you. And the more feedback you get on what you'd like to see or where you see this being used, the stronger cases we'll be able to present to our partners and get some features put into it that you're looking for. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about some applications and some scenarios, some of them being more obvious than the others, and some you may not have been thinking about. That's what it's all about here for the next little bit. So I think one of the most obvious ones is, again, taking a control panel or a security system that was installed a decade or decades ago and bringing them up to the class-leading Alarm.com platform and what they do, and the user experience and feature set that Alarm.com that Qualys has. I know when Qualys is doing their presentation and they show their new IQ2, they've got a slide where they've got probably 30 different self-contained panels, and how you have the ability to take those systems and the technology built into there, leverage those, and upgrade them to Qualys and Alarm.com. You could now probably multiply it by 10 by the flexibility on upgrading hardwire devices that this new module is going to do. So again, takes that old user interface and that old technology and brings it up to the smart Alarm.com and Qualys experiences that we're hearing how great that feedback is in the field. So speaking with Alarm.com, this is one that they were probably most excited about, and one of the pain points from their dealers that are using their product in the field. And it happened to me. Just a simple brain cramp. We were working with a dealer here in Ontario that was a Honeywell user and had a Vista panel with hardwire devices and wireless. We thought, great, we'll grab that panel in the middle, the 345 megahertz Qualys, bring it down there, and we'll grab a 16F hardwire module from Qualys, not even thinking. And we're flying along, upgrading it and bringing all their devices into it. And then we're like, okay, let's hook up the 16 zone, and had a complete mistake that you couldn't, that only works in the 319 panel. So what this is going to do, it's going to significantly simplify the lives of the salespeople and the installation side, where you can go out to the field confidently with one product, and no matter what color panel you're going with or what wireless frequency you're going with, you're going to have a upgrade expand module that's going to work on all three. The big benefit of that gold box, the 319, is that you have you can have multiple of those 16F modules. So if you've got some hardwire technology in a premise and you can get that range to the Qualys panel, you can use a bunch of those on a system if you need to. And then those challenging environments or challenging applications that range is a pretty good distance, and you need that PowerG, you can expand and pick up areas that you might not have thought of picking up before. So go on to the next slide. So this one might be another obvious one. It's I don't know if companies have a rule or maybe of a facility or residential application is of X amount of square feet, then we really have to make sure we redesign to make sure that the 16 zone module or 8 zone module that are out there in the field can get the wireless signal back to the panel. Or we say if it gets over to this size of a house, we don't utilize the hardwire module. Well, with the PowerG module we got now, and that you've got that very extended range, you can go into these larger residential applications and go in with that peace of mind that it's going to work pretty much with any residential application without even a repeater. So peace of mind, and simplifies and takes the guesswork out of challenging sites that you might be coming across. Here's another one that it's if you take a look at the picture, the building in the top there would either be like a cottage or a cabin. Maybe when it was constructed, it had a whole bunch of hardwire zones that were just during the original construction, they were picking up the intrusion and life safety devices in that cottage. But maybe they didn't have protection out with those outbuildings. Maybe they were constructed at a later date, or they just couldn't get wired between the two. Or if they did get wired between the two, it would have been pretty expensive to trench the wire. I think one of those buildings is going over water to get wire out to that location. So both those outbuildings in this picture, for an example, both would have power. Both would likely not be heated if you're in the northern states or up in Canada. Oh, start getting feedback there. Whoever's okay. So now, and if you had maybe no heat, you've got some challenging environments where you want to use different types of sensors. So now you can easily add protection into that boathouse with whatever sensors you like to use for that environmental application. And then you could also pick up that garage. So 3 different buildings put onto that one system, and done so very easily. For anybody that's seen our Neo and PowerG presentations in the past, we've always used that golf course application, because I think everybody can envision the type of layout that would a regular golf course would have. Each golf course would have a clubhouse, and that clubhouse would usually consist of a pro shop and a restaurant. Sometimes I've even heard that they've got them on separate systems, so it's not even partitioned, it's separate systems paying separate monitoring. Maybe they have a banquet facility, maybe they got some storage. Almost every golf course as well has a separate building that would house all the heavy tractor and expensive lawn equipment used to maintain the course. as well as the beverage carts. So two of the pretty most important parts of the golf course are off-site. So like I mentioned before, traditionally it's either trenching a wire between the two locations, which could be extremely expensive and time-consuming, or they're going to have to put a cellular communicator in that building outside, do separate monitoring fees, separate applications, and they'd be run independently. So now you have the ability, if you've got, again, you got the clubhouse with your Qualsys panel, you're picking up a couple partitions there. You can go wirelessly out to these outbuildings, and sometimes they've got a couple out there. If they got multiple 18-hole golf courses, they might have two areas where they've got these large sheds with the tractors and stuff. You'd be able to pick up the hardwire if it's there and have all three buildings all onto that one system, and save your customer a good chunk of monthly money. So these are the sorts of pictures we've been getting with PowerG for a long time. But here's one we're gonna tackle as soon as this module comes out. It's a motocross, snowcross a track in Northern Ontario, or north of Toronto, and they've got 4 separate buildings. And so just quickly give you a rundown of what this application would be. And I think we're going to, again, see a lot of this stuff in the future. But there's 3 circles at the top there. The first building on the far left of those circles is like the cafeteria restaurant where they're grabbing their lunches and snacks throughout the day. The second building across the road is the registration. That's where the offices are. Again, both those buildings have power, so you'll be able to get security in there and not worry about the environmental challenges. And I think it's they can get wire between the two if they needed to. But the building in the back, it's a shed where they keep some of the tractors for the grooming, as well as some of the toys that are used on the snowcross and motocross track. The 600 feet away is that's actually a small airport hangar, and run on a separate system where you got hardwire zones, and now you have the ability, again, with this new module, pick up the hardwire zones at the different locations. The location that has that shed with no heat, you can put some hardwire devices in there that have maybe low temp or different style detectors that meet the environment that you're looking to cover. But it's these sorts of projects that I think we're going to be seeing in high frequency of different applications they'll be able to tackle and solve with this new device. I like this phrase as well. We've got a pretty extensive line of PowerG devices. I think it's a pretty complete line, but there's always that one detector that maybe it'd be nice to have, or if you're a fan of a certain manufacturer's motion detector, it's like, we always use this for this application, I'm not changing. We now have the ability to take any hardwire device and make it wireless, right? So if you think of like an Optex photo beam, maybe they've got a large premise, and they want to get coverage out in the part of their property that they don't have coverage, but maybe they have electrical because there's some lighting. Now you have the ability to put this module, pick up your Optex photo beams, or maybe a long-range motion detector that we might not have, or a motion detector that's got heavier pet immunity built into it. I don't know anybody that's got a wireless gas detector, so now you can technically do PowerG wireless gas detectors if you're using them into our module, and then wireless heats as well. So we're working at expanding our portfolio, and we're going to be working to get some more detectors. But if there's something in there that we don't have, you have the ability to make it PowerG using this module. And that goes for the life safety as well. I had a dealer in Toronto acquire another dealer, and that dealer had been in business for many, many years, and they wanted their first thought was to go in there and upgrade them from whatever they had there, which was hardwire and hybrid, to the Qualsys and Alarm.com experience. So they factored in going with the Qualsys panel on every install. They factored going in with the 16-zone module to pick up all their hardwire zones. But then they found out that almost every site had a CO and smoke. So they'd have to add a CO, a wireless CO and wireless smoke to every upgrade, which significantly bumped up the cost of making that conversion over. So now with this module, you can take those 4-wire life safety detectors and bring them into the system. And not only on that input side, on the output side, we have a PowerG outdoor siren strobe combo, which is great and got a lot of great applications. But maybe you want something a little more vandal or attack resistant, or a louder siren or a brighter strobe. We have that flexibility with the outputs and some of the things it can do. Neil, do we have any questions that we should address here? I've just been not giving an opportunity to jump in yet.
No, it's we got quite a few questions, but I think we can right now. I think we can hold them all to the end, sir.
Okay, perfect. And again, we're trying to give different scenarios and where we see this fitting in the market and give you ideas on how we think it's going to help you. But please share scenarios or ideas you think you might be able to use it, and we welcome that feedback and that information. So speaking to another dealer in the Canadian market, he was excited about the possibility of this for this reason. He said, sure, there's Z-Wave like water shutoff valves out there, or you have the ability to hardwire and off an output of a control panel. But he said that he's come across sites where you can't get wire because everything's finished, or if you had to run conduit, it would be very costly to do so. Or the Z-Wave range just didn't get to the area they needed coverage. Now you could have this module mounted next to that water shutoff valve, and if one of your flood detectors goes off, like the floods or the floats, or like a water puck goes off, you have the ability to have it activate an output. So the module takes that signal and activates an output based on the zone status, and it shuts the water off depending on what the zone status is and when it goes into alarm. So I thought that was a pretty neat application that I wasn't thinking about when we first came out with it. The same dealer also gave me a second example that I wasn't thinking about, was the DVR or NVR for video monitoring. He said that their station does video monitoring and wants for verified alarm. So he wants it where right now what they're doing is they hardwire outputs off a control panel, and when it goes into alarm or zones go into alarm, to trigger inputs on his NVR for the station to know which cameras to look for. But there might not be that wire between where the NVR is and the control panel. A lot of applications where that's not going to happen. So now you can put this input module wherever that NVR is, and now if zones 3, 4, and 14 go into alarm, you could have it trip an input 1 on the NVR, so the station knows to look at camera 1. And conversely, if something goes wrong with that DVR or NVR, they've got a list of outputs for troubles. You could have those troubles wire back into this input module, and we can send out alert or a notification saying, hey, listen, we've got a trouble on your NVR, and you'll be able to see that remotely as well. So I think that's a pretty neat scenario, being able to tie the video monitoring and being able to do the inputs and outputs between what's going on in the panel and what's going on in the NVR. This is another one that I had. Actually, I was speaking to the guys at Cantech probably an hour or two before the call, and I thought I'd throw this one in there as well, because I was speaking to them about different scenarios and what this can do, and I kind of walked them through the benefits and some of the specs on it, and they said, hey, I got two for you, and I think it's going to expand as we evolve, and we work with Qualsys and Alarm.com to be able to have different outcomes based on the PGMs. But he gave me two scenarios. He said, what about a non-access control door, right? So you have, for example, just on the Cantech software, they've got this dashboard that based on the events that you click or identify, you can have those pop up as like little alerts. So you don't want to see every event every time a door is open and closed, because that doesn't really mean a lot. But you can select which key events pop up that I want to show up on my dashboard to alert me. So you could have a wireless contact send the signal to the panel, which activates an output on our new module. That output shows open, so if the door stays open, it triggers an input on the Cantech system. And in the Cantech software, they can write a rule saying if this door stays open for 15 seconds or 10 seconds or 5 seconds, flag it in the software and with a little video recording. So now they got a little red bubble popping up saying door open and a little video clip that ties it into it. And that has really that really doesn't have anything to do with the access control being tied into it. So, but that will give you that alert and give you the notification of that there's something on the system that's out of the normal has occurred. Another one they talked about was, well, if you've got the arming status, when the system goes armed in the away mode, you could have it activate. You could have it get an output that triggers an input on the Cantech system saying system is armed, lock all doors. So that was another one that I thought was pretty neat. And I think we're going to come across a few more examples like this that we'll be able to tie into access control better for the years going forward. So, Neil, do we want to do any questions come up yet, or should I kind of go through the recap and then go to questions?
Let's do the recap, and there's still a few questions slowly creeping in, so let's do the recap.
Okay. Yeah. So just in recap, it would be easy, or it wouldn't do it justice if you just said it's a simple takeover module. I think we can see by the fact that it's got the range, it's got the ability to have two-way communication, so you're able to leverage those outputs, and the inputs can do a whole bunch of different things. I'm thinking it's more of an expand and upgrade module. So yeah, the big benefit is the range. It's got that PowerG crazy distance, two-way communication and encryption. It gives you the ability to upgrade or take over any hardwire device, 2-wire or 4-wire, life safety or not. 8 programmable outputs. Again, you can have 2 of these per system. So if you had 2, you'd have the ability to have up to 8 programmable outputs. And again, because you can have 8 zones per, you can have up to 16 hardwire zones. Again, PowerG, I don't think you can overestimate how strong the PowerG and what it can do in the applications that allow you to tackle. It's got 2 auxiliary independent power circuits that Neil mentioned needed for UL and ULC to be able to separate your life safety and Berg. It's got a 24-hour backup battery. The different flexible configurations that it's going to allow you to overcome out in the field now. And again, yeah, did I say PowerG? Because that's a big part of it, PowerG for sure. So, questions. So Neil,
all right. Yeah, let's go.
You want to go ahead?
Question. Yeah, first question, and hopefully Paulo and Jennifer are on the line too. What is the status of the CS-FM listing for this product?
Yeah, this is ready. It's ready at launch.
It will be ready for launch. Awesome. The second question was. You good, Paulo? Okay. The second question was, do the EOLs require a specific resistance today to learn the resistor value? Great question. So the system will auto-learn anything between 1 and 10 ohms. As long as you're not using double end of line. If you're using double end of line, then you have to use the 5.6, which comes with the module. Next question, Paulo, for you again. Is the product's UL listing 864?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Next question, will this model also be supported on Neo or Power Series Pro? Well, we knew that question was coming. Rob?
No, it's on the roadmap, and we're working towards that. That's yeah.
Okay. Are the PowerG capabilities the same as that in the Neo? As I was told, regular Colsys is limited. The PowerG capabilities are similar to what we have on the Colsys now, so it is obviously slightly different than what we would have on the Neo or a Pro. Having said that, we have done some pretty extensive testing, and we were, even running on battery power as opposed to AC, we had better range from this module than we did standard PowerG devices. Okay, next question. I think it was said 2 of these can go on a panel, so 16 zones. So yes, correct. At this point, it is 2 of these can be connected to a Colsys panel. And do we see this expanding in the future? It is on the roadmap to, if you had noticed on the picture, there is a core bus on the module. So we will be, in the future roadmap, adding the ability to add zone expanders to this. So it would bring the maximum up to 32 zones. We had a question of, must this product go through Alarm.com? We operate our own central station. The Colsys panel does go through Alarm.com. So I guess in theory, it would be required to be on Alarm.com at this point. Once we're on the Neo and Pro, we should have some more flexibility there. Anybody want to correct me? No? How does the product work in rain or snow? I wouldn't say it's a weatherproof housing, but from a temperature standpoint, it is rated to -30 Celsius. What is the range of the wireless? We covered that. How does this compare to the old CWSI product line? Paula?
I don't know the whole product on this. I don't know if Rob can answer to this question.
CWSI, I've never, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, me too. Okay, we can take note and get back to this question.
Yep. Yeah, I have who asked the question. So we've already addressed that. There was the next question was, will we have a PowerG signal tester for range?
No. No, we don't have a PowerG tester for range.
Okay.
We've had a lot of guys hook up a panel and a keypad and just walk around with a contact. It's a lot of guys have done that with a laptop bag, but I don't think we have a released version of that.
Okay. More questions are popping in. Hold on. Too many are popping in.
Neil, are we getting any?
I wanted to take this opportunity in the break to just tell everybody that we will share a copy of this deck and a spec sheet, and we'll use these questions as the backbone for frequently asked questions to share with you guys at some point next week. So stay tuned. We will share all of this with you.
Yep. The next question was, will it be 2 modules for the Neo also? No, the plan is for Neo and Pro, it'll be 4 modules. So up to 64 zones will be available. A big missing gap.
If it's not a question, probably people are wondering when is this released? Yeah, so I don't know if we talked about that or not earlier, but the goal is to release at the end of the month to distribution and hopefully on the shelves later in July.
And, does the device have built-in range test with the LEDs? It certainly does. There is a question that we would like to see a PowerG tester on the roadmap. You already answered the availability. How can I integrate the system with Windows NVR mode? Follow.
Does Windows have inputs and outputs? NVR mode? I don't know.
What is this window? No. I don't know about this.
Maybe we can provide our contact info to that question and we can get more information.
Yeah, we certainly can. Can I hardwire a keypad to this? Great question. So again, on the roadmap, since we do have a core bus on the module, it is on the roadmap that we want to be able to hardwire a keypad to the core bus.
Yeah.
I think we got them all.
Any applications come through now? Not just questions?
Nope, just questions.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be really excited and interested to hear about different applications people might have out there, or use cases, or share with your DSE representative, and we'll share amongst the team, because I think we're going to see lots of neat applications that and sites that we're able to tackle with this product, and we'd be very curious to hear. Anna, did you want to close out if we're not getting more questions come through?
Absolutely. So even if some more questions are coming through now, we'll make sure we'll address them all, and we'll send you guys an email with replies. So just wanted to thank you so much for joining us today. As everybody had shared their excitement, we know that this is a game changer, and we hope this gives you so many more reasons to come and talk to your customers, especially during these hard times in the economy and on our entire continent. So I really hope that this helps you enhance your business opportunities as well. As I said, we'll be in touch with a copy of this deck and brochure and a spec sheet with an official launch plan for the end of this month. So thank you, everybody, and have an amazing weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.